So you're new to fantasy football and you're trying to watch some videos talking about what is fantasy football. You're dropping big words like ADP, average depth perception, don't draft a tight end in the first round, and you have no idea what any of that means. Stay tuned. You're definitely going to watch this video. Welcome to Jazzology. So now you find yourself in a fantasy football league and you're not really sure up from down, left from right, wide receivers to running backs from quarterbacks. How do you build a team? All right. So we're going to start from the beginning. This is exactly what fantasy football is. It's where you draft, typically, depending on your league, 15 players for your team. And typically, you have a starting roster. So you start with one quarterback, two wide receivers, two running backs, one tight end, a flex position, which is a wide receiver, running back, or tight end, a kicker, and a defense. Those are usually your starting players. All right. Now, every league has a little variation. There's some leagues that may do three wide receivers. Some leagues do two flex. Some leagues even have something that's called the super flex, is where you get to put a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, or a tight end in your flex position. All right. So let's bring it back a little bit more to the beginning. You're going to draft 15 players to your team from the NFL. You're going to want to draft players who put up the most stats. They don't necessarily need to win the game. You just care about players who put stats. So, for example, if you know a wide receiver is going to get 150 yards but still lose the game, or you know another wide receiver that's going to get 50 yards but win the game, we don't care about the 50-yard receiver. We want the 150. That 150 yards is 15 points. And if your wide receiver gets you 15 points, you did pretty good that week. All right? So you're going to be drafting 15 players from the NFL that's going to be on your team. And every week you have to set up your starting lineups. Typically, depending on your league, again, a lot of leagues vary here. A lot of leagues want your roster to be locked in Sunday morning. Some of them don't need it to be locked in until that player starts their game. So you will have your starting lineup, and then you have bench players. Now, obviously, if there's an injury, you want to put your bench player in for the injured player, and vice versa. Or if you feel like this player has a better matchup. If this was a few years ago, if you had a player playing against the Browns, you always play that player, period. And I kind of did say that, but let me just move a little bit out the way here, and you could see my Pittsburgh Steelers fandom speaking out for me. Now, necessarily, you can't necessarily play anybody that's playing against the Browns, but if you're playing against the Bengals, play them. All right. Sorry, Cincinnati. Sorry, Cardo. I had to do it to you. But you're gonna want to start the players who have the best chance to put up the most stats. Now, if you never watched football before and you're into fantasy football, I promise you, you're about to start watching football. You're about to be invested in a lot of games. All right. So pretty much what happens is you're going to take your players, your one quarterback, two wide receivers, two running backs, tight end, flex, kicker, defense. Your 8 players, and you're going to start them. Then they're going to take the stats from your players from those games, put them into a point system, and compare it against the person you're facing that week. Each week usually starts on a Thursday, ends on a Monday. And whoever has the most points come Tuesday morning wins that week. And if you win that week, you have a win on your record and one less loss. At the end of the day, you make the playoffs by having the best record, and then you end up winning the playoffs by making sure you never lose in the playoffs. So now you're probably wondering, well, Jaws, how do they convert my stats to points? And this is where you get to sound intelligent when you're asking the people. That way they don't think you're a rookie, because once they think you're a rookie, I promise you, you're going to get some trades. People are going to try to take advantage of you. It's not fun if they know that you're the rookie of fantasy football, all right? And if everyone's ready to talk to you about trading away your first round pick, you're probably perceived as a rookie. I'm here to help you out. Now, what usually happens is for every 10 yards a running back or wide receiver gets, they get 1 full point. Doesn't sound like much, but if you look at the end of a game, like let's take, for example, Christian McCaffrey, who may finish a game with 110 yards rushing and 40 yards receiving. That comes out to a total of 150 yards. Usually, if it's 10 yards equals 1 point, we're going to do a little bit of division here. 150 divided by 10 equals 15. Christian McCaffrey just got you 15 points that week. That's not counting touchdowns, and we didn't even get into if it's a standard or PPR league yet. So when you first join the league or even getting the invite, the first question you should ask, always, is it a standard, half, or PPR league? All right, and I'm going to break it down to you. Don't click off the channel just yet because you don't know what those means. Receivers. Typically, we're looking at wide receivers. A wide receiver catches the ball, right? So for a wide receiver catches the ball, in a standard league, they don't reward a catch. In a half PPR league, PPR stands for points per reception. So because the wide receiver caught the ball, they get half a point. In a PPR league, it's a full point per reception. So when they catch the ball, they get 1 point. Well, Jaws, that don't seem like too much. Well, let's take a look here. Let's take my boy Juju, for example. So Juju Smith-Schuster, let's say he ends the game 5 catches for 50 yards. Let's put that and let's compare the points that he would get across all 3 formats. In the standard league, 5 catches for 50 yards is equal to 5 points because they don't count catches. Standard doesn't care for catches. In a half PPR league, 5 catches is equal to 2.5 points. 50 yards is usually 10 yards is equal to 1 point, so 5 points. So in a half PPR league, he just got 7.5 points. In a full PPR league, 5 catches, 5 points. 50 yards, 5 points. 5 plus 5, 10. Now, if you're looking at this, you're looking at your team, which score would you want? Exactly, you want the 10 points. It's not even a rhetorical question. Sorry for asking. I'm not questioning your intelligence, I promise. So wide receivers getting more points because of catches. And you have running backs who also benefit from catches too because the league is different now. Running backs catches balls. So with that, it definitely causes a little bit of fluctuation in how you even want to approach the draft or how you want to even build your team. Another question to ask is, how many points does a quarterback get for throwing a touchdown pass? Josh Allen, in a 4-point for passing touchdown, was the best quarterback. Hands down, no question about it. But when you actually gave him 6 points for passing touchdowns, he dropped to number 2. That's not so much. But look at what happened to Aaron Rodgers. He was number 3 in 4 points. When you put 6-point touchdowns in there, he jumped to number 1. And you look at that last column right there. Aaron Rodgers actually scored 6 points more per game just because he got 2 extra points per touchdown pass. All right? I'm just trying to teach you the question so that you don't look so much as a rookie. All right? Because when you're a rookie, I'm telling you, man, people are going to take advantage of you. Don't be that person. When they take advantage of you, they ruin the integrity of the league. They really do. But anyway, I digress. All right? So the next question that you should definitely ask is, what is the roster format? Is it 3 wide receivers, 2 wide receivers, regular flex, 2 flex, super flex? And I'm just going to give you like a brief overview about why that's kind of important. So if it's a super flex, in super flex leagues, with that happening, you're going to want to draft 2 quarterbacks. Namely, because now that you can put a second quarterback on your team to play, imagine if your first 2 picks was Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. You are golden. You are, although if they let you get away with that, you're no longer the rookie. You're now the boss of the league. Everyone's going on your terms now. All right, I promise you that. But in a super flex league, when you can start 2 quarterbacks, you're going to end up picking your quarterbacks earlier. You're going to want more quarterbacks on your team. Typically, if it's just 1 quarterback and just a regular flex, all right, cool. You don't get the Josh Allen, the Kyler Murrays, the Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. They're going to go pretty early in the draft, but it's okay if you don't get them. Over here at number 12, Kirk Cousins scored 306. And Kirk Cousins probably isn't going to go drafted until the 12th round. So that means you get to pick 11 other players to help fill out your roster and still grab a top 12 quarterback on your team. So, yeah, if you're playing against Russell Wilson that week, he scored 19 points that week. You scored 15, 14. You wasn't blown out the water. It becomes an issue when their quarterback scores 19 points and your quarterback gets you 8 points. When that happens, yeah, no, there's an issue. You definitely need to address that. But if it's a super flex, you're gonna want two quarterbacks. If it's a regular flex, you can sleep on the quarterback unless you definitely want to grab your Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers type quarterback. Those are their top tiers. Now that you know the scoring, now that you know how your roster is set up,
Good. Now we can do research.
other than that, stay tuned to Jawsology. More fantasy football coming soon. All right.